Hello, investors. It's Don Vandenbord, Senior Portfolio Manager with Revere Asset Management. Today is Wednesday, February 7th, 5:21 p.m. Eastern Time, coming to you from St. Augustine Beach, Florida, with tonight's Revere Market Insight video. I sporadically am getting notified that the audio and video don't match up, and I'm looking at other solutions, but for now, what I found is the longer I talk, the worse the chance that it happens. And if I don't restart my laptop right before I do it, there's a chance it happens. But I did both of those things. We're going to keep this one short tonight. Hopefully, this will be a flawless video. State of the market, we're in an uptrend since the O'Neill follow-through days. At the beginning of November, you can see the trend gauge over here. Slight improvement, mid-caps, multiple closes back above the 21-day. And we've got the coveted 4 green arrows. Market leaders really took charge today. They've been resting for a little while, maybe just going sideways. Some of them obviously busting out like there's no tomorrow, mostly those that are AI and AI hardware or network related, but broad participation today. Short-term small caps trending below the 21-day moving average for about 4 or 5 sessions now. So we've got the yellow sub arrow there, riding higher along the 50-day moving average, but below the 10-week moving average. So we're keeping the small cap yellow arrow indicator on our medium-term average. All 5 of the major indexes firmly above their 200-day moving average. So what happened today? As I said, leaders surge. S&P 500 came within 0.11 points of the 5,000 level, backed off slightly there into the close. Here are the numbers on the day. Big 7 did their job, up 1.5%. RG8, a little bit of a mixed bag, only up 0.65%. S&P 500 up 0.8. Equal weight up 0.4%. NASDAQ 100 up over 1%. Equal weight 0.75. Dow up 0.4. Mid caps up 0.47. Russell 2000 fly in the ointment. More fears about banking as Moody's downgraded NYCB. This is the market. This is the bank that was down over 30% on earnings because they bought troubled asset banks back during the as part of the government bailout, and they warned. They were down, were halted at one point. They came out and said their deposits and liquidity is fine. They rebounded a little bit, but still that's the driver behind the Russell 2000 being down 0.17% today. Global 60/40 up 0.23%. In-house GROTECTION leaders and the index is doing their job, up 1.21%. Let's get into it. I've got the mid caps on there, but we want to go back to the S&P 500 so you can see how we just barely came, as I said, within 0.11 of this 5,000 level. Now, sometimes big levels like this indicate a time for a pause. Here's a little pause back here at 4,500. There was a little pause around 4,500 again back in July. 4,000, we blew right through it when we first came up to that level. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. But if it's up to ARM, that's a chip licensing firm up over 30% after hours, carrying semis higher. So if it's up to them, we're just going to blow through this 5,000 level. NASDAQ 100, new high close, new high print. Not much else you can say about that. Dow, not quite there yet. Very close, but the chart continues to look good, although the relative strength does not. Mid caps, a little choppy, but one close below the 21, last 2 days back above it, still respecting this rising 50-day moving average. IWM is kind of respecting this rising 50-day moving average. It's battling all over, but closing the last 2 days in line with it. Remember, it is on a severe uptrend here. So weakness will pull it way below that, and we're on. If you look at the weekly, we can't get back above the 10-week moving average on small caps. So still something we're paying attention to, but why focus and really worry about? Well, we worry about everything, but like I said, it's just a fly in the ointment, and the ointment is just fine. It's curing the ills. Any ills for the bulls, but certainly not for the bears. It might as well be arsenic for the bears. So there's the 5 major indexes. Let's go to the VIX. and the VIX was down 1.76% today, in line with it's heading lower as the market heads higher. Dollar, not a lot of news here today. Tight range, down slightly. Gold and silver. Gold basically flat, but closed near the lows of the day. GDX, gold stocks down 1%. Bitcoin, we took a position in IBIT today as this broke out of this little 4 or 5 day range, clearing the 50-day moving average. Let's get to bonds now. Broad bond index. Bonds, not a lot of movement here today. Broad bond index down 0.19%. TLT, this is the long bond, down 0.48. You know, if prices are down, that means yields are going to be slightly higher there on the 30-year and on the 10-year. Let's look at equal weight indexes very quickly. RSP, fine, not quite at new highs yet. QQEW busted out to new highs. So how about that? All right, let's get to the tail of the tape and then a few charts. Moody's downgraded NYCB. As I said, that was a reason for extreme weakness in the morning on regional banks, but they recovered most of it by the end of the day. We're up for the last 5 days, 5 days above the 8 EMA, 23 above the 21. Sectors, it was tech and home builders, semiconductors, software, and tech and discretionary on the downside. TLT, the dollar, KRE, regional banks, biotech, gold and silver stocks, and 2 defensive sectors, which led yesterday, but XLP and XLRE. We trimmed more SSO. 3 reasons why. We got 5% extended from the 50-day moving average. That's the low end, but it's extended. Coming into 5,000, we had a possibility of a Livermore pause there anyway, so we locked that in. And we trimmed it going into a bond auction, the largest bond auction in history, 10 years, $42 billion. We know if bond auctions don't go bad that the market has been prone to dump, but it survived it just fine. We've got another 30-year, $25 billion tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern. We'll be keeping an eye on, but we did survive that, but we did some offensive trimming. Going into that, as I said, we bought Bitcoin. We added to NXT on some comments in the Enphase earnings report. Enphase up in the teens today, percent-wise. They said their inventory glut seems to be bottoming, and the overall sector was strong today. NXT did end up finishing red on the day today, but still consolidating after its big move up on earnings, and we did add some T-bill money market mutual funds with the spare cash that we have. Bottom line, leading stock surge, all-time high for the NASDAQ 100 and S&P 500, as S&P came very close to that 5,000 level. S&P futures, it's about a 20-point difference between the futures and the S&P, and they are above that 5,000 level. Let's look at some names in the portfolio. First, we'll take a look at ARM. This is the one that's up big after hours, was up over 30%. They said now it's 29%, trading at 99.50. It was over 100. They said AI is really increasing their licensing revenue that they're having. They upped guidance quite a bit. So not a surprise there. If you mention AI and you're benefiting from it, that's what we're seeing these days in the market. So let's go through the portfolio very quickly. Uranium, start off with the ETF, the only ETF that we own, uranium. CCJ, big component, reports before the bell tomorrow. We'll be keeping an eye on that. This is trending nicely higher above the 21 and 8-day moving average. We own the small cap and S&P 500 leveraged ETFs. Largest position, Uber, reported earnings, initially sold off, finished strong up on the day. Great numbers for Uber, relative strength near new high along with price. That's what we want to see. Next in size is NVIDIA, which is over up to 709 after hours now, breaking finally through that. Well, no, it did clear 700 after hours a couple days ago, but then popped back below it. Did close above 700 by the end of the day today at basically 701. so continues to act great. CrowdStrike, third biggest position, nice breakout here after a 2.5 weeks of going sideways on some good other cybersecurity names reporting earnings and having a positive reaction. NXT we added to today. You can see the consolidation there after the big move up on earnings, and this is a heavily shorted stock. AMD, still own next. Not as strong, obviously, as NVIDIA, but forming a nice triangle there. And consolidation should break the way of in the direction of the primary trend, which is up. Lilly still have a quarter position in this, may have to add back to it after it rebounded nicely today after selling off on earnings yesterday. And Palantir started this yesterday. It followed through strongly to the upside today. That's going to wrap it. As always, like to hear from you. The email is don@revereasset.com. The phone's 855-REAL-WEALTH. That's 855-732-5932. If you're interested in becoming a client, email my partner, Dan Stewart. That's dan@revereasset.com. Our flagship portfolio is named GROTECTION because it serves a dual function, growing assets during uptrending markets, which such as we're in right now, and protecting them during downtrends, such as the bear market in 2022 and the like here's an example of a 3 waves down that we got defensive in, which actually ended up briefly breaking below the 200-day moving average. So we sleep well at night is what we hear from a lot of clients, and that's music to our ears. And with that, I'll wrap up the video for Wednesday, February 7th. This is Don Vandenbord with Revere Asset Management, telling it like it is. Thanks for listening and have a great day.